Hi, everyone. Unlike the name at my video, I am not Kim Temple. I am Austin Lee. I'm Kim's son. Kim, the owner of Runaway Realty, is currently doing some continuing education for her broker's license, so she won't be able to join tonight. But we'll be joined by Millie Arceo, who was the immigration guru and expert here. Her offices are in Playa del Carmen, and she runs a firm called Legally in Mexico. I've added a hyperlink in the group chat to her private Facebook group, which is a great resource for everybody. Before we kick things off, I'm just going to do some housekeeping. While Millie is doing her presentation, if we could just all stay muted, that would be awesome, and put our questions in the meeting chat. I'll be monitoring it and will interrupt if need be. But she's going to do a general overview at the beginning, and then we can kind of field questions from there. And I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, without further ado, Millie, feel free to take the reins.
Hello, guys. Thank you, Austin. Well, my name is Millie. I see some names that I recognize that I already talked with you. Well, I am an immigration specialist in Playa del Carmen for the last 17 years. Actually, my anniversary was last week. So, and I see all the changes that has happened in the last 17 years in the. Can you hear me?
No.
Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
sorry, you muted there for a second, but you're
Okay,
back.
so I will start again. Well, my name is Millie Arceo. My office is in Playa del Carmen. I just had my anniversary last week that I had 17 years doing immigration processes. And I just can tell you that this is crazy. Like, I still don't know how I am still doing this job, and I still love it. Because working with the government in Mexico is one of the worst things, honestly. They change their mind every single day. So that's the reason that we are there every single day to know all the updates, all the news, all the everything really. So we just do immigration papers. That's the reason that we are very good in what we do, because we just focus on this part. We have people that help with any other things like RFC, open bank accounts, driver license. For all the other things, we have someone else. But us, we just focus in residencies. As I say before, I don't know if you hear me because I was on mute, but I just wanted to say that I see some familiar faces here that I already talked with you or give information to you. But anyway, right now I am going to explain a little bit of the general ways to apply for the residency. And honestly, right now, there is like more options to apply. Now it's like hope even for people that they don't apply with bank statements because they don't have the economic solvency, or with properties that every year the government is asking is higher, like every year is higher the amount of money that the government of Mexico is asking for you to move here. So basically we have two residencies, temporary and permanent. The temporary residencies, there are many ways to get it. And what you need to do, the first step, and it's the easiest way, is to apply in your Mexican consulate in the city where you live. So that means that you need to start your process outside Mexico. I know that maybe some of you have tried to do it that way, and that's the worst part about booking your appointment. Getting appointments in the Mexican consulate, it could be a nightmare really, because sometimes they don't answer. The agenda is so full that you will never find an appointment. You need to check every day. Actually, I have clients that in order to get an appointment in the Mexican consulate, they have tricks like going online around 2 a.m. on the 15th, when it's the day that they open appointments. So you really need to keep checking in the consulate, Mexican consulate that you want to apply, how are the ways to do the appointment. Some other consulates are really easy because you just send an email and they give you your appointment and they tell you what to bring. While other consulates will tell you, please send me everything. We review all your bank statements, and if you apply, then we give you an appointment. That's the best consulate that you can find. So, as I say, that's the first step to start. Now, what do you need to apply in a Mexican consulate in order to get your residency? If you can get temporary, then the law says that you need 5,000 days of the Mexican wage in Mexico. So doing all the operations and the math, that will be 73,200 US dollars per month to have in your bank account for the last 12 months. I repeat, 73,214 US dollars. That means that that's what you can have in your savings in order to apply for a temporary residency. But if you have more than that, then you can apply for a permanent. How much money do you need to go directly to permanent in the Mexican consulate? The law asks for 20,000 days of the minimum wage. So you could imagine that is too much. So it is 1 second, 292,000 US dollars to have in your savings for the last 12 months. Also, some consulates will tell you, I don't care that you are super rich or you have a lot of money. I don't care that you have all that money. But if you are under 60 years old, even if it's not on the law, I won't give you the permanent, even if you cover the requirements. This is an idea that the Mexican consulates have in their mind, because honestly, you don't need really to be over 60 years old in order to get the permanent. Like if you have the money that the law requires, you should be able to get the permanent. But that really depends from the Mexican consulate that you choose. Also, another question is, do I need to go to the Mexican consulate that is in my city? If they don't have appointments, how am I going to do it? Almost all the Mexican consulates accept you even if you don't live in that state. So that means, for example, if you live in Austin, Texas, but you cannot find any appointment, you can go to New York and maybe you will find an appointment there. So it really depends from the Mexican consulates if they will accept you or not. But something important too lately is that I don't know what is happening, but I have been doing this for 17 years. And since 2021, when COVID started, it is crazy the amount of people that are moving to Mexico. Like crazy, like you don't have idea how many people we have now moving to Mexico. So, and that's the reason that a lot of consulates, they don't have a space because everybody wants to move here, or at least if they don't want to move, that's what the majority of people do here. 50% of the clients that we have, they live here full time. The other 50, they just want to get the residency for different reasons. Like after COVID, people think that they need a resident to have a residency in another place in case that something happened. Because here in Mexico, we were all open when it was COVID. But you just could come to Mexico if you have a residency. Other people just get the residency because they own a property and they want to gain some taxes in the moment when they sell, or if they are going to rent their properties in Airbnb, they will need to pay taxes. They need a residency, then they need a tax ID number. So it is like different ways why people need this residency. So after talking about the two generals, there is another option that is if you are retired. But if you are retired, you need to prove that you are retired. How do you prove it? With your social security letter saying that you don't work anymore and that now you receive per month. If you want temporary, you will need to receive in your pension 4,392 US dollars per month for the last 6 months. If you want to apply directly to permanent because you are retired, you will need to receive in your pension 7,321 US dollars per month for the last 6 months. So basically, that's what the government is asking you to have. If you have a property, you can apply just for a temporary. And that's an important question and point that I want to touch base here, because people think that if you own a property, you can go directly to permanent, but that's not true. With a property, the only thing that you can get is a temporary resident. And the government asks that your property, it has the value of 40,000 days of the minimum wage in Mexico. So that will be in US dollars, 585, 700 US dollars. It needs to be the value of your property. So not all the properties has that value. I recommend that if you can apply for permanent because you are retired or because you have a lot of savings in your bank account, go straight to permanent. As before, like we have like a lot of pages in Facebook like mine, or we have another pages in Facebook with a really good information where people are sharing what consulate they use and the experience that they had, and if they get permanent or they get just temporary, or if they were easy to get permanent. So that's the kind of things that before applying, you need to review all the pages in Facebook. Of course, don't believe in everything that you read, because I see every answer that sometimes I want to cry for the answers that I see. But if you ask an expert, it will be better. And secondly, contact the Mexican consulate directly, because that's the only right answer that you will have. And then, before we start with the questions, I just want to tell you the new way to apply for a residency that I really think that it is just a gift that the government is giving to everyone. And this one, it says that you just need two rules, you just need to apply for two rules. One is that if you have been in Mexico once between 2015 and 2022, just once, even if you change your passport and you cannot prove it, in the system, it should say that you were here on those years. And then the second rule is that you have an expired stamp in your passport right now. That means that if you came in May 2023, your stamp is already expired. You are already illegal in Mexico. So the government say, oh, now you are illegal and you were here on those years. Come here, we will give you the temporary residency without proving anything else. We don't want to see if you have money. We don't want to see if you have a property. We just adopt you because you are illegal here. And now we are going to give you a temporary residency for 4 years. So that's really nice. But the problem with a lot of people is that they cannot stay longer than 6 months, because normally you will get 180 days when you enter Mexico. Not everybody can stay for 6 months or longer. And the risk that you take doing this program is that you will be illegal until the day of your appointment. And that will take 2 months since your expiration date. So basically you will be walking around, not being legal. And in case that any checkpoint or anything, if they catch that you are illegal, they still can deport you. So some clients that they are doing this process, they stay in their house, or they don't travel from one city to another city. They are just like careful about everything. If you live in Puerto Morelos and you just stay there, that's fine until the day of your appointment. But that's really if you don't have all the amounts that I explained before, that's a really nice way to apply. And honestly, a lot of people are applying for this program. It's like, that's the reason that all the immigration offices in all Mexico are very crowded right now, because of this program. Also, you can come, and when you are entering Mexico, you can request just, give me 10 days. I am just going to be in Mexico 10 days. So we let expire the 10 days, and then we ask for an appointment in the immigration office, which will be 2 months later after your 10 days. So that's all the options that we have. And of course, the other option that is always there is if you have Mexican wife, Mexican kids, or husband or wife with a residency, and you can apply under them. But beside that, that's the main options that you have to apply for the residency. And now it's a lot of information, and I would love to answer questions because I even get confused explaining everything.
Hey, Millie. Shannon had a great question. For those income limits that you were talking about, are those individual person limits or for a couple,
It
like a
is
joint account?
It is per person. If you
Okay.
want to apply under your husband, it will need to be a little extra money. But for example, if you have a joint account and you don't cover, you just cover for one person, there are two options. You can apply together in the Mexican consulate, proving that you are wife and husband with your marriage license. So the other person will be under the other, okay? Or the other option is that one apply in the Mexican consulate, and then when you come to Mexico, the partner enter as a tourist, and we change the process here. We change the status from tourist to residence, depending from the husband or the wife, the one that has the main residence. What we will need in this case? Your marriage license with apostille. Apostille is an stamp that it goes in the back of your marriage license that is making valid that paper in all the world. The problem with people from US and Canada is that you guys, why you change your name? When you get married, you change your last name. And that changed everything here in Mexico. Let's say that Austin is Austin Temple, and then the wife is like Millie Arceo. But then I marry Austin, and my name will be Millie Temple. So for Mexico, I am not the same person, even if it's obvious that I just adopt the last name from my husband. So in this case, beside the marriage license, we will need a letter from your consulate saying this person is the same person in the passport as it is in the marriage license. It is an easy letter. Like, for example, for our clients, we do the letter and we send you with the consul here in Playa del Carmen. It is something not difficult to do. So getting back to your question, Austin, if just one can apply, the other one can apply here in Mexico or can apply directly in the Mexican consulate with marriage license.
Okay, awesome. And then we had one more in regards to, I know that there's been some confusion of this in the past. How many times is temporary renewable, or does it expire? And at what point does that just transfer into a permanent residency?
The temporary residency, it is just valid for 1 year the first time. So it means that if you come to Mexico, you will just get 1 year with the Mexican, with the temporary that you get in the Mexican consulate. The next year, we will renew for 3 years. And after you have 4 years together, you will become permanent. But in the other program that I was talking, that you go directly to 4 years, you just have once a temporary residency for 4 years, and then you switch to permanent. For the renewals, you don't need to prove bank statements again. The only time that you need to prove bank statements is in the Mexican consulate.
Perfect, thank you.
Any question, guys?
I have a question.
I have a question.
So I just oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just was wondering if she has any links or how we find her off of Zoom meeting.
We will share my Facebook. I have a Facebook page and a Facebook group. And if you need any information that you cannot find online of your specific consulate, I can help you finding exactly the information that you need for that consulate.
And if you, just a quick plug, if you go to the meeting chat, the first chat that I sent has the link to her Facebook group. It's going to take you to her private group, and you just click join, and it's she'll have to let you in. But yeah, it'll go straight there. And that's a great resource. It's very active.
Deborah, you were going to say something. We cannot hear Deborah.
So if my 180 days are up on March 27th, what's the mechanics of this? When do I start? I've already reached out to you. When do we start things going? And I still have to wait an additional 2 months after that March 27th date for what?
Okay. Were you here before between 2015 and 2022?
Yes,
Okay.
many times.
So in March, in order to get an appointment in the immigration office, we need to prove that your stamp is already expired. So if you expire in March 27, I will go to the immigration office in March 28 and say, I want an appointment for this person for the regularization program. But as the appointments are very far away because everyone is trying to do this process, if you ask me for, if your stamp expired today, and I go tomorrow to ask for an appointment, the next appointment available will be April 15 because they don't have a space before. That's the reason that you need to wait like 2 months after your expiration date. So
Okay.
by March, when we book your appointment, probably the appointments will be for May. And we cannot book before.
Okay. Okay. So contact you, get things rolling, give you my expiration date, get that all ready so that the day after my expiration date, you can start things rolling.
Yeah, actually, I always recommend that we meet 2 weeks before your expiration day. So we make copies of everything and we check in the immigration office all the time before booking an appointment for this kind of program that you cover all the requirements. Because some people say that they cover it and for some reason they don't appear on the system or something happened. So we always double check before booking your appointment that everything will be fine the day of your appointment. So
Okay.
2 weeks before to have ready everything. So the day that is expiring, we go and say, it's ready, please give me an appointment.
Okay, because that is something that has happened to me. I always keep my old passports as memories. This last passport that expired just before I came in October, I renewed it for 10 years. And for some reason, I tossed my old passport out. And
But
that
we don't need your old passport.
okay.
We just need to know that you came to Mexico and you enter Mexico and then you went through immigration and they stamp your passport. We don't need to see the stamps. It should be on the system.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're good to go.
And what were those years for the passport entry between 2015?
2022. Between those years, at least once. It is important that if you came in a cruise ship, normally it's not registered in the immigration office.
Right.
So because some people has reached out to me saying, I was in Mexico in 2016 in a cruise ship. That it doesn't count because it's not on the system.
Right. That makes sense.
Also, guys, I want to say something very important. Especially here in this area of Playa del Carmen, we have a lot of people offering easy things. So maybe you hear about it or you have a friend about that you know that they did it. There are companies that they are offering that they can get you a permanent residency without leaving Mexico. And basically what they are doing is that they are creating a fake paper saying that you have a Mexican kid. And maybe you will never have a problem, but maybe you will have because that's a federal crime. And if for some reason you didn't know that that was the way that they did it, because the Mexican kid will never exist. that you can be deported forever from Mexico. So please, I ask you to be careful with that kind of processes. Don't go to the easy way. Always go for the legal way.
So Millie, just a question where you spoke about going directly to permanent residency. With the regularization program, that's not possible. Can you
No.
ask? That is not possible at all.
Not possible at all. The regularization program just gives you 4 years of temporary, and then after the 4 years, permanent. The only way to go to permanent without proving bank statements or anything is having a Mexican kid. That's the only way that takes you directly to permanent.
Okay, no, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. So many cases, really. They charge just that you have
I'm
an
too old
idea,
for that.
maybe you were approached by some of the people that they do it, because they even posted on Facebook like it's something normal. They even sell Mexican passports. Don't do it. Don't do it.
What's the,
Really, we've got.
Oh.
Oh, sorry.
we're just
ahead, Karen.
wondering
Sheila,
what
Sheila.
the timeline is for, like, once we're in our own country, what would the timeline be after that? We did all the paperwork there and they approved it or whatever they do. What's the timeline after that, approximately?
That's a really good question. Here in Playa del Carmen, we cannot book your appointment to exchange the Mexican visa that you have in your passport for the residency card until you enter Mexico. So we need to prove that you already entered Mexico, and then we ask for an appointment in the immigration office, which will be like around 3 weeks since you arrived. And
Okay.
everything will be ready everything will be ready the same day of the appointment. I am talking about Playa del Carmen.
Mhm,
In Cancun area is almost the same.
mhm.
Some other places like Merida, Mexico City, and places like that, they have like 2 days or 3 days waiting time.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
I have one more question. If I've been to Mexico in that time frame and it's in my passport and I'm going to live in Mexico, do I just tell you 2 weeks before I'm coming? Because I don't have to.
Okay, but that's if you want to apply for the regularization program. You mean the one of 4 years?
Yes, that can turn into the permanent.
Okay, you need to be here and let expire the days that they give you in your stamp. So if you enter Mexico and you have 180 days, you need to let me know like 5 months and a half later.
I don't want that long though. I can get 10 days stamped in.
Yeah, you can try to get 10 days, but then the waiting time to get the appointment, it will be 2 months.
Right, I understand.
So you can be here like 2 months and a half and everything will be ready.
Right on.
Just something important, as this program keep changing all the time, in any moment they can say, now the 10 day, like less than 180 days, it won't count, and now we just want 180 days. That's something that we need to have on mind because they change the rules as they want.
Right.
I just had a question about the amount of funds showing the $292,000. Does that have to be in a checking or savings account specifically, or could it also be in a brokerage account or a money market?
In money market, no. In savings, yes.
Okay, so it does have to be liquid in savings, not something that's in an investment account?
Yes, it needs to be like in savings.
Okay. Does it matter if it's in checking versus savings? Because
No, it doesn't matter if it's
as
in
long as
checking.
it's cash. Okay.
No, it can be checking too.
Yeah, okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Can it be like GICs in the bank?
What is that?
Guaranteed investment certificates?
I really don't know what is that.
Oh, okay, okay.
What's the name?
Well, it's like a savings account, but it's, it's invested for 3 years or 2 years or 5 years with the bank.
So that you can't touch it, but it's a savings
account.
Yes, it could work, yes.
Yeah, my understanding is that as long as you can get a record of it, showing it over a period of time, you'll be good. Like I think we've had clients use retirement accounts, so 401ks,
Right.
any
Okay,
sort of,
that's what
any
I,
sort of
On the
investment
market,
account.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not necessarily in a bank, right?
Yeah, all you need is essentially proof of assets in an account
Yes.
that hit those for the period of time that they're asking.
Well, back to Alex's question earlier, then, she said not to a money market account, which is something you can liquidate within a few days. Whereas a CD or a 401k, you couldn't liquidate in a few days. I mean, it seems like a money market account is almost cash. It's much closer to cash than a 401k is.
But for some reason, the Mexican consulates don't accept that kind of bank statements. But as I say before, we need to check with the Mexican consulate that you want to go because maybe they should have some exceptions.
It can be different any day of the week at any location, at any consulate. So you got to go there and be ready and have more than what you need because they might ask you for something different.
Yeah, you know, Adam.
So
That's
Millie,
okay.
I understand, unlike where you can shop around for consulates back in your home country or not even your home country. Because I know the Toronto, Ontario consulate is an absolute nightmare.
Yes.
Everybody says so.
Yes.
I've had friends just recently. I've tried contacting them. They're like a fortress.
Yes,
And
that's true.
whoever the lady that works there, she makes up the rules as she goes. Like whatever is her whim, that's what she does. So it's very, very hard to deal with. So more than hard, a nightmare. So my other option before leaving was to try and go to Leamington.
That's
But
a
I'm here
really
now.
good one. That's
Bienvenida.
Leamington is one of the best consulates that I recommend.
Yes, I've heard nothing but very good things about Leamington, but I'm here now. I ran out the clock and it just didn't happen before I left. So, but my understanding is with the 4-year or with the regularization program, you get one shot at it. If you get turned down, you can't shop around and apply for regularization, say in Cancun or Merida or whatever. Is that true?
No. And first of all, if we do it, we will be sure that you cover all the requirements. And we never had a client that they say no, because we already check everything. And secondly, in case that, I don't know, like one of your entries were not registered and you do it with someone else and they didn't check, you still can do it in a different place.
Okay. I was under the understanding that you only get one shot at the regularization, and if they turn you down for any reason, then that's it. You get kicked back into play and have to do it the other way back in your home country.
Well, is that it really depends, because if you, like for example, if you go to the immigration office and you try to start your process without any help, I always like, normally the people in immigration will say, oh, but you don't cover the requirements, you don't apply, so they won't even start anything. So in the moment that they start something, like they put your name on the system, then you will need to go, or you will need to leave Mexico and start the 180 days or the days that they are going to give you, or you will need to go to the Mexican consulate. But if you go, you present all the processes, but before they start everything on the system, they say, but you don't apply, then you're fine to go and try in a different place.
Okay.
Any other
Okay,
questions?
so I do. Okay, so for the Canadians, I just actually went to the Vancouver consulate and I was actually denied for temporary. The numbers went up 40% in Vancouver. Had they gone up 35%, I'd have my temporary right now. So the Vancouver numbers are 102 I was literally $4,000 short, and they said
I
no.
know.
So just, yeah, it was very disappointing. So what my plan is I plan to, I don't want to wait a year. In 1 year's time, I will qualify for permanent, but I don't want to wait. So what I plan to do is I plan to go down to Mexico in August. I have a company coming to get me, most likely from Texas, and not from Canada. And then I'm going to wait out my 180 days. And then I'm so scared of the regularization program in the sense that I don't want to get deported in any way. So if I leave after that 180 days, how long do I have to leave for? Like, can I just rip down to Belize for, cross the border, come back same day, or what?
Well, first of all, if you come in August and you have 180 days and you want to apply for the regularization program, that means that your stay will expire in 2025, in February
Right.
2025. And this program is a temporal program. We don't know if next year will be available. We even don't know if at the end of this year will be still on.
Right.
So that's one thing. Second, okay, in case that it continue in 2025, and when it's moment for you to apply, they say, okay, now we're not going to do it anymore. And you are illegal like 1, 2 days. It doesn't matter how many days. You can leave. I don't recommend Belize because everybody runs out to Belize. So
Okay.
they know, and they just will give you 7 days to enter back Mexico.
Okay.
But normally what Belize do is that they ask for money. They say, what do you want? How many days do you want? I want 180. Okay, it's 2,000 pesos. Basically, they are charging you for the days that you want. The best option is that in case that you cannot apply for the program and you want to leave again, is that you go to Miami or any place that is close, 1, 2 days and come back. It's not a limit of time that you need to be out, and for sure you will have 180 days again. Everything is under the decision of the agent that is receiving you when you enter Mexico.
Okay. So I shouldn't really be worried, because I'm literally selling everything and leaving in August. So I'm super excited about it. But I don't, like I said, I don't want to wait a year. I want to go now. So yeah, so I guess worst case scenario, I just even fly back to Canada and visit my family, I guess, and then go back again. And then I'll have another 6 months. And
or
then
maybe before coming, you can check with us if the less than 180 days are still on, and you just require, like when you are entering Mexico, you say, I am just coming for 7 days. So just give me 7 days. So they give you 7 days. So by the middle of August, we are done with the 7 days, and you will have your appointment in November.
Okay.
But you need to check before, because in case that this rule is not working anymore about like less than 180 days.
Yeah, I think I remember around Christmas time, it stopped about 2 weeks before Christmas for 2 weeks there. And then it started again in January.
No, and actually, you know what's happened? That's what I am talking about, immigration. That in the middle of December, they say, no more appointments, everything is done, like you cannot do anything else. Like 2 days later, they say, oh, you know what, we're going to do it. So the people that are around this area, that they come and ask, we will do it in that moment. Because basically the government, what they want is people paying, because the taxes for this process is almost like 17,000 pesos to pay in government taxes. So, and that's what the government wants, the money, your money to pay the government taxes.
Right.
But Millie, what you're saying is when they arrive in the Cancun airport, and I put this in the notes, if you know you're going to meet with Millie and you want to do the expiration and she tells you, yes, the program is still in effect, then when you give them your passport, when you arrive in Mexico, tell them, I'm only here a week. Please only put 10 days. They'll change the date to stamp in your passport, so your tourist visa will expire sooner, much sooner than 180 days.
Yeah.
I'm going down in March and for 3 weeks, and I was hoping to maybe do it then, but I can't wait 2 months. So
But
unfortunately, I'll just wait until I go.
Yeah, and actually, you know what? Some other cities, I don't know if you, are you coming to this area, to the Riviera Maya?
To Puerto,
Because
Morales.
there are some other options in another cities like Mérida that is like 3 hours from Puerto, that maybe we can try and check, because now we are just like making a team with someone in Mérida, because like as an example, I have a client, she pays me the deposit to make her appointment here in Playa. She's already expired. So I say the appointment it will be in April. She say, I cannot wait anymore because my visa is already expired and I am leaving in February. So next week she contact me and I say, do you want your appointment or not? She say, I already got my residency. And I was like, wow, how did you get it so fast? And she say, I went to Merida. And I was like, okay. So since that, I started working and talking with someone to do it in Merida. So maybe when you are coming, we can check if Merida is still an option. And if you agree to go there and spend like 3-4 days to finish it, you
I've
can
been
do
there. It's nice. Yeah.
I am from Merida and it's super nice.
Oh,
I just
like
got
it,
back
yeah.
from Merida.
I
It's
love Merida.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stayed 3
nice.
weeks in Progreso and then went to Merida for the couple days.
I love
Yeah.
Progreso too.
Yeah, nice. Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other question, guys?
So I have a question. I have an opportunity of possibly purchasing a friend's vehicle. They're Canadian. For health reasons, they have to leave Puerto Morelos. Now they're leaving in April 26th. My stamp is March 26th. Now this kind of puts a bit of a wrinkle in my mind, because if I purchase their vehicle and I'm driving their vehicle before I get my appointment and I get pulled over, for any given reason, that kind of makes me nervous, because like you said, I'm going to need to lay low for 2 months.
Well, if you're going to drive in Puerto Morelos or that area, that's fine. Also, the police cannot ask for your legal status. They can ask for that. If you don't have a driver license, that will be a problem. But the police is not allowed to say, are you legal here or not? The only ones that can ask for that is the immigration agents, that sometimes they are around, but they don't go out too often. And what's the name? Not the police, the Marine, no, what's the name? I forgot the name right now. You know, the other ones that are like over the police. What's the name?
Marina?
Federales.
No. It is like kind of Marines.
Yeah, Marina.
I forgot. I will
Like the
remember
military?
when we are talking. Who?
National Guard.
The
maybe?
Yeah,
military?
the military. But they
Okay,
have
so
another name
if
here.
I get pulled over, they can't ask if I'm driving, if I buy this car and I have my driver's license and I'm fully insured, but I get pulled over, they can't ask to see my passport.
An ID with a picture, yes, but they cannot ask to say, where is your stamp that is say that you are legal? That's what they cannot ask. They are not allowed to ask you. If a police put you up, how do you say?
Pull you over?
Pull you over, they just can ask for a driver license and an ID with a picture, but they are not going to say, where is the last time that you entered Mexico? They even don't know how to do it. That's true. Like it is true. The only person that can ask your status is the immigration.
Okay.
I have a question. I know it's late to come in. I don't know how to work this. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
All right, great, thank you. We had a doctor's appointment, I'm sorry. I have a question. My husband, I actually think I talked to you, I texted you earlier. I tried to get an appointment in Minnesota when we were back, but unfortunately it was 2 weeks after we were already back here, the first appointment was. So now I'm gonna redo it. My husband had heard, he is retired, I am not. he had heard that he could apply for permanent residency. And then later on, he can ask me to join him or something. Is that something that would want to look into?
Yes, that's what we were talking before. Maybe you came later, but yes, we say that, for example, if your husband get a permanent residence in the Mexican consulate, and then you come to Mexico as a tourist with your husband, we can get you a temporary residency for you for 2 years because you are married with a permanent. And after 2 years, you can switch to permanent. But we will need your marriage license with apostille and then a translation into Spanish by an official translator here in Mexico. But that's something easy to do.
Okay.
So yes, it's very easy to be under someone else, under your husband or your wife. It's easy. The most important thing is your marriage license with apostille.
With a what? What was that?
Apostille. That it's like a stamp that you get in your marriage license or any document to make it valid.
Yes, it's
actually something, I don't know where you are from, but it's something new in Canada. Before you didn't have apostille, and now you have it.
Yeah, I'm from Minnesota, and it's
in US, yes, you need an apostille.
Yep. Okay.
A what?
Apostille.
It's called an apostille. You can get it through the Secretary of State's office.
Can you spell that?
APOSTILLE.
Exactly.
I'm gonna throw it in the chat.
Yeah, is it the same as getting a notary to do it though?
No.
The raised stamp?
Well, it is not from a notary.
Okay. Well, not a Mexican notary, but in the US, you swear before them. Yeah.
I'm from Texas, and I've gone twice to the Capitol, to the Secretary of State's office to get apostilles. Apostles.
Yeah, I had to do the same in Colorado.
I see that Christopher asked, what are the tax implications of permanent residence? There is nothing really. That's something that's very good about Mexico. Two important things. When you have a residency, you don't need to stay in Mexico the whole time to keep your residency. Even if you are permanent, you can get your residency, leave Mexico for years and come back, and still you are still a resident. For taxes, if you don't work in Mexico, you don't need to pay taxes. There is no taxes involved in anything of that. Not because you have a residency, it means that you need to pay taxes.
I think it's important to note, though, if you purchase a car or you make money in Mexico, you have to have an RFC from the SAT office.
Yeah, the RFC that Adam is talking is the tax ID number that since last year is mandatory for all the people that has residencies. But even if you get your tax ID number, it doesn't mean that you need to pay taxes, but you will need it for a lot of things. And in order to get the tax ID number, you will need first your residency. What you can do with your tax ID number, you will need it to open bank accounts. If you buy a car and you want to put it in your name, you will need the RFC. If you want to sell your property or something, you will need your RFC. As Adam said, it is something super important. That is nothing related with immigration, but it's something that you will need to do after you have your residency.
Is that easy to get, your RFC? Or do you have people that help you, help you do that?
Actually, we have a lady that she helps all our clients, but yes, but as it's a government office too, it takes like a long time too.
Okay. One thing I did want to tell the Canadians, the Vancouver consulate was extremely easy to get an appointment. I've heard lots of horror stories about Calgary taking months and months and months, but I actually accidentally clicked the number on the website on January 1st, which is New Year's Day, and somebody answered the phone and I was shocked and I had an appointment within 2 weeks. just if in case anyone wants to go to Vancouver. And also I did look it up. Toronto's number is $2,000 less than Vancouver. Yeah.
So, but one question, Krista,
Mhm.
you say that you were denied the temporary or the permanent? The temporary?
Well, both. Yeah. Well, see, I have my house paid off, right? So I don't have a mortgage, but I thought that even though I was $4,000 short, I thought if I could bring in all my paperwork for my house, even to prove that I own the title, it's free and clear and everything, they still said no.
But did you check before going the amounts that they were required?
Well, what had happened was I was accounting for a 30% increase, and it was 40. So had it been 35, I would have been fine. But yeah, but because I already had the appointment, right? And until I found out what the number was, I thought I would just try.
Okay.
Because every consulate is different, and every officer is different.
That's interesting to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they said no, like literally $4,000. It might not have even been that.
Don't feel bad, because I have a client that he was just $10 under the amount that the law required, and he was denied.
Oh, come on now.
Goodness, I would have cried.
No,
I would have
really?
cried. Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy.
I just wanted to show, like, we actually got married in Costa Rica, so our marriage license certificate has the apostille on the back. So this is what it looks like from Costa Rica. So
Perfect.
Like this is our marriage certificate it's on the back. It's like
And just one question, where are you from?
We're Texas, United States.
But you got married in Costa Rica. And the names in your marriage license are the same that you have in your passport, or did like you as the wife change your last name?
I changed my name, but I got a new passport when we were married. So the names are the same.
Ah, perfect. So that's perfect. For example, if you bring that paper to Mexico, everything is in Spanish, right?
Yes.
Ah, okay. So in that case, it's not a problem. But if your documents, as she showed, that she has basically one page, but in one is the marriage license, and on the back is the apostille.
Yeah.
If you have it in a different language than Spanish, we need to translate everything that is included in that paper. We need to translate it with an official translator.
Yeah, we had to do it into English here, so
Yeah.
from Spanish backwards.
But if you want to apply here in Mexico, one under the like wife under you or you under wife, it is okay in Spanish.
Now her name is actually maiden name on the marriage certificate. So would we need to get a letter from our consulate then, or from our?
Yes.
Okay.
If one letter change, then we need the letter.
Okay.
Okay, guys, any other question?
I have a question, Millie. Please, thank you for your time, by the way, and thank you, everybody else. I'm a permanent resident, and I'm interested in becoming a Mexican citizen. I can do that after 4 years, is that correct?
You are from?
United States, Houston.
You need to wait for 5 years with your permanent resident in order to apply. So as soon as you have 5 years, you can start applying for your citizenship. But it is important that before applying, in the last 2 years before applying, you cannot be out of the country for more than 180 days.
Okay.
That's the only time when it matters how long you are outside Mexico. If your plan is not to apply for a Mexican citizenship, it doesn't matter the time that you are out in, it doesn't matter. It is just when you are going to apply.
Very good information, thank you.
Also,
is there any benefit? Sorry, go ahead.
If you have a Mexican wife, then like if you got your residency because you had a Mexican wife, in your case, Adam, then you will wait just 2 years. The same that if you have a Mexican kid.
Pero de todos modos, I still have to have the 180 days in each of those last 2 years.
Yes, all the time for all the cases.
Thank you.
Is there a benefit to becoming a citizen over just a resident? I'm just curious. I have no
Yes.
idea.
The two reasons that I see that why people get the Mexican citizenship are two. One is because they really love Mexico and they cannot imagine their life in any other part of the world. Or the typical one is because they want to buy properties and put it in their own name. Because as a foreigner, you cannot have it in your name.
Right. Okay.
That's the
That's
only.
not fair.
But for
Yeah.
example, I just will give you an example. My husband is from Denmark. And even if I do the immigration papers, we didn't get his citizenship. And the reason that we don't do it is because the purpose of taxes, because the government will be more behind Mexicans than people that are not Mexicans.
Okay.
So we do it like depending what do you want. Actually, you can buy a property and create a company and put it in the company's name, the property. So you don't need to really be Mexican in order to do that. But some people really love to have a lot of properties and have it in their own name.
I do plan on purchasing, but just only one. Thank you.
Well, you can purchase without being a citizen, you know that, right, Crystal? It's, yeah, okay. I have a question about work permits, Millie. So, if these folks get temporary versus permanent, you know, we've been here for 12 years, long time. I've been permanent resident a long time. But my kid, you know, she just got hers a couple of years ago, and then my cousin got his a couple of years ago. What are when do you attach the work permit to that matters to anybody here?
If you work online, like let's say that you work online for a company that is not even Mexican and you receive your money from a bank that is even not Mexican either. So then I will say, don't get permission to work. You even don't need permission to work because basically you're working online. But if you're going to work in a Mexican company and you will receive money for that Mexican company, you have two options if you're a temporary. One is that the company wants to sponsor you. And in order to sponsor you, that company needs to have permission from the immigration office to hire you. And the other option as a temporary is that you become a freelance. So you will get your tax ID number with economic activities. And with that paper from the tax government office, we go to the immigration office and we say, this person now has economic activities, and now we can add it to the temporary resident. So we will redo the temporary residency in both cases. You will do fingerprints and everything, but now your residency card will be the same expiration day and everything, but you will have permission to work. And something important, if you are, let's say that you get your temporary residency in the Mexican consulate with your bank statements, so you don't have permission to work. Then you decide that you want to work in Mexico and you get permission to work. The next year when you renew, you can renew just for 1 year. Because when you have permission to work, you can renew year by year. You cannot renew like 1 year and then 3 years.
Okay.
And for permanent is like really easy because with permanent, you can work since day one that you have your permanent residency. And we have 90 days to let know immigration that you're already working. So permanent is very easy to start working without any problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Let me see what other thing is important for you guys to know. Basically, I just will say that if you can apply this year because you want to apply in the Mexican consulate, don't wait any longer because as Crystal was saying, like the amounts that the government is asking every year increase like a lot of money every year.
Yeah.
So the
last year I
time,
qualified by like a lot. Like I had, extra, right? But yeah, so you never know. So
yeah, you never
and
know.
I sat and waited and I shouldn't have. I waited an extra month and I should have just gone with my gut feeling. So if that's the case, go with your gut feeling. Don't
Exactly.
be me.
Don't be Crystal.
Yeah.
Millie, I just have a quick question about if you change your address. So if the regularization is done in Playa del Carmen, and say I move because I'm on a 1-year lease and I find something I like better, does the change of address have to be done in Playa del Carmen?
No. You change your address in the place. Let's say that you did everything in Playa, but now you're moving to Mexico City. So the change of address will be in Mexico City. In the new city where you go is where you will need to do your process.
No, I'm not talking about city. I want to stay in Puerto Morelos. I'm just,
okay.
If I move from Selva Escondida to another place in Puerto Morelos,
Okay.
where do I change the address?
In the immigration office where you get your process. So if you did it in Playa, it will be in Playa that you change your address.
Okay, so then that's the downside of trying to get a quicker appointment, say in Merida, because if I say I don't want to wait 2 months here and I try with you to get a quicker appointment in Merida, but now my paperwork is through Merida. So if I move, then my paperwork has to be changed in Merida, which means I physically have to go to Merida to do that.
For example, if you do it in Merida and then you want to change your address to Puerto, then we do the change of address in Playa.
No, I'm just saying I don't want to move cities. I want to stay in Puerto Morelos. Just changing locations within Puerto Morelos, my address. So
yes, that's in Playa.
That's
in
in Playa.
The immigration office in Playa will do it.
But if I go to Merida to get a quicker appointment, and I change my address in Puerto Morelos, do I have to go back to Merida to do that?
No, I would say that if you do your process in Merida,
yeah,
and then you want to say to immigration, but honestly, I live in Puerto Morelos, then in Playa del Carmen, we switch your address. We say, now Deborah doesn't live in Merida anymore. Now she lives in Puerto Morelos.
Okay.
Do you understand? I think that.
Well, not really, because I have no desire to move to Merida.
No, but I mean, if we do it, if we do the process in Merida, because you don't want to wait, we need to say that you live in Merida, even if you don't live there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we cannot say that you live in Puerto, but you are doing it in Merida.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't catch that tidbit. All right.
Millie did my residency in Playa del Carmen, but I recently had the address changed in Cancun. My understanding at that time was that you can do it anywhere within Quintana Roo, but I'm not sure that I would recommend anyone go to Cancun.
No, don't go to Cancun. It's like
I
worse.
had to go 2 days.
No. Like I even don't do the process in Cancun, because in Puerto Morelos is an independent city, so you can choose Cancun or Playa. And not just because I am in Playa, it's just because everybody else recommends to do it in Playa instead of Cancun. But as living in Puerto Morelos, you can do it any way that you like.
Millie, I have one more question. This is Carrie. Is it possible for my husband and I to make an appointment prior? Because I had planned on making the appointment in Minnesota when we were there around Christmas time. Like I said, their first appointment was 10 days after we arrived back in Puerto Morelos. So I had all of my paperwork. It's still in Minnesota. But is there possible for us to make an appointment with you prior to me redoing all the paperwork again, just to make sure that I've got all my eggs in one basket and not scattered?
Well, that's exactly what we don't do, because it doesn't matter if I check your bank statements and I say, oh yeah, for sure you apply. But
Because
it is at the end, it's the Mexican consulate who decide. So in that cases, we really don't check papers because we did it on the past. And honestly, when you go to the Mexican consulate, it is at the end, whatever they decide. Basically, you need to be, to follow everything that the Mexican consulate that you are going to visit, that you have everything ready, that the Mexican consulate that you want to visit, you have it in order. That's basically. And if you have any question, if I answer, I still even recommend to contact the Mexican consulate.
Answer when you're on an airplane.
After what?
You answered me while you were on an airplane. You're
yes.
She is so dedicated. My goodness. Who does that? That's
I
so
never
nice.
stop. Like really, honestly, I need to finish this class because lately I don't know what's happened. Like a lot of people are coming to Mexico more. Like today, I answered probably 200 WhatsApp message. Like really, it's crazy. And from that 200 WhatsApp message, maybe just 2 people stayed today. So it is crazy. Sorry if some of you has contacted me on the past and I didn't reply right away. Sometimes with so many messages, I get crazy and I don't know what to answer. Or sometimes the message get lost. So please forgive me. And cheers.
Cheers.
Enjoy your wine, Millie. You deserve it.
Yes, I deserve a bottle now. I just have like a crazy week, really.
Thank you, Austin, for hosting this.
Yeah, I was going to say that's probably a good spot to wrap up. Millie, thank you so much for your time. Everyone, let me just do this one more time here. I'm going to post that Facebook group in the chat. It's her private Facebook group.
Sorry, for those of us that
go ahead.
For those of us that don't have your contact information yet, Millie, could we get that in the chat as well?
Yes, of course.
WhatsApp or.
And actually, I am going to write. I am using my husband's computer, and I don't know how to. Okay. So I am
on
going
those
to share
pages.
my...
There's a lot of people. Sorry. I was just going to say on those pages, there's a lot of good information, and a lot of people ask good questions on Millie's pages.
So I just write my WhatsApp number because basically I prefer WhatsApp. Facebook, I don't check it often. And emails, I check often, but it takes me longer to answer. WhatsApp is my day to go.
Yeah, that works.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for everything. Thank you, Austin, for having me.
Thank you. Good questions, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for everything, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.